preseason is kind of like post-production, and the NFL season is the movie. And it's excellent every time, and that's how I think it is. That's how I look at it as, and I love it. I can't wait. So, Craig, let me start off with you, man. Dak Prescott out 6 to 8 weeks. How impactful is this for the Cowboys, man?
It's very impactful. Like anytime you lose a starting quarterback, if you don't have a reliable backup, which a lot of teams have decent backups, but they're not guys that I would think be like NFL starting type quarterbacks, or else they would probably be the starter. So it's going to be tough. They already have issues with the offensive line. They already have issues with the wide receivers. The running back core. They have good running backs, but they haven't been producing, especially Zeke over the last couple of seasons. And the defense is solid. The defense is pretty good, but the offensive side, this is where this is why you pay Dak Prescott the money that he got paid. Like this is what you have him for. And with him out, and now you're going back to Cooper Rush, who when he played, was it last year? 2 years ago, he's pretty solid. He's pretty decent, but he's not Dak Prescott. Like he's not the starter. So the only saving grace to me is they have an easy schedule. Like I know that he's not going on the IR, and they're saying he could come back in a couple of weeks, come back sooner versus the 6 to 8 weeks that was originally said.
I think Jerry Jones said 4. I think.
Yeah, I mean, even still, like if he comes back in 4 weeks, obviously that's even better. But you don't want to rush him back to make something even worse. But this, I mean, they got for at least until say he's out 8 weeks or whatever it is, which is going to pretty much push him until after the bye week. So, I mean, other than maybe they got the Rams and at the Eagles, and then they're home this week to the Bengals, who are in the same position as they are at 0-1. They're at the Rams and at the Eagles are the 2 toughest games on the schedule. So I think if they can possibly go, even if Dak Prescott doesn't come back, they can go 4-4. I think that's pretty good. Good.
Do you think they can?
I think they can. I mean, they got the Commanders, so I think they can beat. But the Commanders are going to be tough. Obviously, that's at Dallas. They got the Lions and the Bears at home as well. They got the Bengals at home. Just like I said, just come off a loss. Mm-hmm. At the Giants, and they can beat the Giants. And then at the Rams and at the Eagles. Like I think if they can come out of this with 4 wins and 4-4, head into the bye week, then they got the Packers after the bye week. But I mean, that'll give Dak another week of trying to recover. That's to me, that's like the best case scenario. I would assume maybe 5-3 be the best, even a better case, but I don't really see that. Yeah. But I think they can go 4-4. I think they'll be in striking distance of trying to make a playoff run later on for the rest of the season, second half for them. But obviously without Dak Prescott, it's gonna be tough. Maybe they can rely on the run game a little bit more. Maybe Gallup comes back and he's kind of questionable this week. Maybe he gives them another receiver they can throw the ball to. But man, without Dak Prescott, it's gonna be tough. This is what it is.
Mo, Dak Prescott, he's out 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 4.
I think I think it's huge. I mean, they look bad and rough without it, because some can argue this, and I understand pass rush too, but let's be honest here, those receivers look bad, and Tampa Bay is not a top 10 secondary. Overall, Tampa Bay is not a game buster secondary, and receivers couldn't get open. It wasn't just that. Receivers struggled to get open. It just totally looked bad. And when you already have a struggling run game, and then receivers who can't get open, and then now you talk about Cooper Rush, like but like Craig said, the saving grace is their schedule. But let me just say this. Let me come out and say this right now. We lose the Cooper. I know one player don't make no team, but we lose the Cooper Rush, I got a problem. I'm not saying firing. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna be comfortable. I got a huge problem. I got a problem. Because y'all know how I feel. I think we should beat Detroit and be 2-0. Yeah. And I feel like everything else is stressful. But now with Dak hurt, if we lose to some Cooper Rush, I got a problem with that, man. I got a huge problem with that, man. Like so, but I think if they can play 500 balls so Dak gets back, I mean they got to still a shot to make the playoffs because once again we know Philly's inconsistent, we know Washington's inconsistent. Love my team, but let's just be real, we inconsistent. We got to see how the rest of the NFC plays out. I mean, San Francisco didn't look too good, week one. Yeah. So in hindsight, Green Bay didn't look good. So we got to look at, even New Orleans. I mean, you didn't look good. You had to come back down from 15 to Atlanta. So I mean, that was So let's see how this plays out. But right now, it doesn't look good.
Okay, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Commanders fan, but I love saying this. The Cowboys are eliminated from the playoffs. We're just gonna be real with that. Dak Prescott is probably the second best player on the team. You can say Michael Parsons is the first. Dak's the second. That's fair, right? Second best player on the team. We've seen what this team looks like without Dak. They don't have Amari Cooper. They don't have Malcolm Gallup. Their receivers look bad. Their offense looked bad before Dak was gone. And Craig, I would hope that they go 4-4, but I don't think they go 4-4. I think they lose to the Lions. I don't think they win maybe 1 or 2 games. I don't think they look that good as a football team. And I would like, I just think Dak is that important. Like I heard, who said this? Shout out to Colin Cowherd. He said that this is the reason why good teams provide depth. If the Cowboys had depth, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We'd be like, all right, they're hurt, but we could see them surviving this. They don't have any depth. If they had Amari Cooper, right? If their O-line was good, their O-line isn't even good. And they got injuries on that front. So that's the only issue. It's just like before Dak went down, I didn't have them going to the playoffs anyway. Now I don't, because I just don't see where they don't have a good team because of they have a lack of depth. So I think they're unfortunately eliminated. Not unfortunately, they're eliminated from the playoffs, and I think they're going to look bad. And I don't think Mike McCarthy's a good coach. He can't survive this. He's not Harbaugh. And then he has what's his name? Head coach for the Falcons. Their defensive coordinator right behind him, who's probably going to get the head coaching job for Dallas Cowboys next year if Sean Payton doesn't want it. So I think this is unfortunately Mike McCarthy is doomed without Dak. Because so that's just me. I think they're done. I think they're going to be really bad. What do you think, Corey?
As Craig kind of touched on there, any team is going to struggle when your starting quarterback goes down. I mean, if your team doesn't miss a beat, then there should be some questions about your starting quarterback. But Dallas already was putting a lot more on Dak Prescott's shoulders this year. Trading Amari Cooper, not really going out and making a big splash, like bringing in somebody else to try to fill that void. Yeah. So when you start to lose that person, how do you fill that void? They let Andy Dalton walk, which felt like a mistake for a team that talked about having Super Bowl aspirations. If their defense could build on its success last year, I think that they could make a run in the NFC.
You know what the crazy thing is, Corey? Not let me cut you off. If they had Andy Dalton, Craig, then I would be like, I could see that. I could see that.
He could keep them afloat.
But they don't.
I mean, it's
better than Cooper Rush.
Like Colts Twitter in this preseason was talking about, the Colts should cut Nick Foles and go with Sam Ehlinger as the backup because he looked good in the preseason. And this is exactly why they didn't do that. Because if you're a team that has legitimate aspirations for a season, you want a guy that you can trust Yes, it's not going to be a guy that you're comfortable going out and starting 17 games.
Yes.
Right.
But if he can go out there and start a couple of games for you and you're not going to get run off the field, that's what you're asking for out of a backup. That's what Andy Dalton could have provided. And I have no idea why Dallas didn't bring in somebody.
I agree. I definitely
and
agree
it's
with
too late
Andy
now.
Dalton. Yeah. I definitely agree with Andy Dalton. If they had Andy Dalton, I'd be like, all right, they would probably survive. I believe they had Andy Dalton, Craig, they would be 5-4. I totally believe that. Or even Nick Foles. Just I just think they need a quality backup. I just don't think Cooper Rush with that O-line and not having receiving help, that's a lot they're putting on Dak. And I get it, they're paying him $40 million, but like you got to be honest. Every team that was representing the Super Bowl last year, every team that went deep into the playoffs, they had multiple receivers.